Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So we are back at Charlie's shed with the VB. I didn't film us putting the chassis connectors in. There was a little bit of a time crunch. We ended up doing it on a Friday night. So what I'll do is show you where the car's at the moment. And I did take a few pictures and stuff like that, so we'll put them up. So this is the car as it sits currently. You can see the rear end is in. I chucked that in last night. So basically the chassis connectors were put in last Friday night. And then Saturday I came in and with the help of a few of the guys from work, we ground back welds, seam sealed, and then masked up everything and then got into the Raptor liner. So it looks unreal. I've never used the Raptor liner before. This was the kit that comes with the 4 bottles. I used about 3.5. Probably could have used 4. Obviously, there's going to be some spots underneath the hoist pads, as I did it in the current spot that it sits. I've ordered a pressure pack to just do them, and also any little touch-ups. So because we had this hole all around the car was plastic drop down, it was quite hard to get to some spots. So a couple little spots I found that I missed was just up along there, which is hardly anything, but again I've got the pressure pack coming, so I'll touch that up. And probably the worst spot is up there above the spring seat. So if you could imagine, there was a plastic sheet coming straight down here. I was on the inside and trying to get up into those areas. You can't actually see what you're doing. So I did try to flick some up there, but yeah, that's probably the worst of what I missed. So I'll sort that out. That should be here in the next couple of days. But yeah, I do have some photos, like I said earlier, so I will put them up of us putting these chassis connectors in. Absolutely stoked with these guys. These are from Exclusive Panels. I gave him a call and basically he wasn't really doing them anymore, was flat out, as everyone is at the moment. But we got to talking a little bit and he really looked after me here and smashed out a set of these within a week for me. So you can see the join mark here. So that's where it goes from the factory chassis to the connector. And then obviously ties in to the pickup point there for the lower control arm at the back. I did also get some of the Blackmagic race car strengthening plates for the rear here, so they were welded in as well. So you can sort of see that's one there that follows the top. Also adds a plate here where the bolt goes through. Also the same on the lower, adds a plate in there, put some stitch welds along those braces there. Also a little bit hard to see now, but this part here, that's from the kit. Obviously the chassis connector now goes to there as well, but yeah, that was welded in before I knew I was getting this style chassis connector. New drums I put on, just had to drill out to 13 mil for the stud to suit the 1/2 inch studs. So that's done there on, looking awesome. So basically, yeah, the rear just needs a nut and bolt tighten up, and the wheels are ready to go on. So I'm still waiting for the centers at the moment to be painted, and then they're ready to chuck straight back into the barrels, and we can chuck the wheels on. So moving over to the front end, I have sat the K-frame in, which I got powder coated quite a while ago. That's just in there loosely at the moment. I do have some new nuts and washers coming for that. Moving over here, got a bit of shit everywhere at the moment. This is a freshly assembled strut, so new shocks, bump stops, boot, tops, springs, adjustable tops there. Another box of goodies here. front lower control arms, I stripped them all back, sandblasted them. I pressed in the new ball joints first, got them painted, and then I've put in the fresh bushes. Obviously got our VT brake conversion hubs. So I've got fresh bearings, just got to pack them. They're ready to go. The goal for this video will be to have the car rolling. Once it's rolling, it obviously then can be moved off of the hoist, which I'm sure Charlie will be happy about. And then we can move on to finishing off the inside of the car. So the rust converter, and I've got a heap of sound deadening down here that will go basically over everything. So yeah, we'll keep moving with the front end, guys. Hey guys, we're back at the shed again, continuing to put the VB back together. Just thought I'd show you guys what I've been talking about with the steering rack. So here we have a VL rack end, and this is a VS rack end. So as you can see, the VS one is, going by measurements on paper, it's 30mm longer. These threads here are different, so you have to get a VS tie rod end as well. Looking on the car, this is a VL rack. So VL rack in, that's your VL standard tie rod end. As you can see, what I had to do was just nip the end of this off, and this is wound all the way in. I've got a thinner lock nut there as well. As you can see, I've got the same brand tie rod ends, so they're going to match. Over here, in this side, that still fits up in the taper there as it would with the VL one. So the idea is, we're going to put this on the passenger side, and then we have moved the rack 30mm this way to give us the clearance we wanted here for the starter motor in the factory location. So I'm adding 30mm essentially to this rack end and taking 30mm off of this rack end. Now in my head, doing that, we're still going to be able to have equal lock side to side, and the rack will still be centralized. Now I know of at least one other person that has done it and hasn't had any dramas, and they're going through engineering at the moment. So yeah, that's what we're going to do, and we're going to see how it works out. So as you can see, since last time, struts are assembled and in. I've put the Z-bar caster rod bushes in the K-frame, and yeah, I'm going to put the lower arms in and just sort out this rack. So I'll keep you guys updated. Okay guys, fast forward a few weeks and the car is back home in the shed. So a fair bit has happened between now and the last update. So I'll go through and show you where we're at with the car and what we're doing next. So as you can see, the car is now on all four wheels. That's about the ride height we're going to try and go for at the rear. I think it looks really good, but we'll see how we go. And then obviously the front is quite high at the moment because there's no engine in the car. The brake booster master is in. We've also done some brake lines. So I had a mate come down last weekend on Friday night and Saturday, and we made them. Took quite a while to do them. He had some really good tooling and he has done them before. But like anything, when it's not something you do every day, it takes a little while. So I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. The first one we did there, you can see that bends up a bit sooner than the other two. That was the first one we did, and that actually goes to the back of the car. So ideally we would redo that bit, but I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to bother redoing it for that. Obviously normally they go through the underneath the strut tower there. There's normally a rubber grommet either side. I got them welded up, so you can see they've gone back behind that side. The driver side, sorry, shoots out under the rail, and then the passenger side comes down along here. I'll turn that around and shoots off under the rail there as well. So the rack's in, steering shaft's in, steering wheel's in, and it's all worked out really well. So you can see at the moment the wheels are straight. To the right we've got 1.5 to full lock. Then if we go back to central, got 1.5 to full lock that way. So super happy. Everything there has worked out how we wanted it to, and we've got equal lock still. Also changed the K-frame bolts there, so fresh bolts, washers and nuts for them. I'll go up and we'll have a look underneath. Okay, so gives you an idea of the painted wheels now as well. I got them colour coded to the car. We'll have a look at the rears. I'm really happy with how they've turned out. They look awesome. So there's them. Might just grab a torque so you can sort of get a bit of a better idea. This is the brake line that runs to the rear of the car. So that goes up to there. I've got flexi lines, front and rear. It's obviously just not bolted into the locator there. So the only brake lines that we haven't done are the rear diff ones. And we just ran out of time to do them. So other thing I got sorted was a handbrake cable. So I had to have a custom one made to suit the HQ rear drums. So I actually did get a spring kit from Rare Spares as well for the drums. Replaced all the springs and everything, fitted the cable up, and I actually have a functioning handbrake now. So that's pretty good. Sort of shows the finished product with the rack install. What I am going to have to do is I've ran out of thread on both sides here. So I spoke to a engineer I've got around the corner from work, and he said it's a simple job for him to just cut some more thread into the rack ends there. So I've got some adjustment. At the moment the toe is set pretty much dead straight, but once the engine's in and the vehicle drops, then it's going to be out again, and I don't have any adjustment, so we'll have to get that sorted. Pretty stoked overall with where the car itself is at. I did actually go to put the engine in last night. I've got sitting here. Now, you may notice this is a different sump to what was originally on this engine. And the reason behind that is last night I had the engine basically ready to go. There was a few things I did, put some head studs in it, changed the timing cover over to the one with the drain for the turbo in it, and also thought I'll fit the Copo Camaro spring to the oil pump, and what that does is gives you about 15 pound more pressure. So I did that. To do that, timing cover off and sump off. Upon tightening my sump, rushing and not torquing it, I actually cracked the corner of it. So if it wasn't for that, the engine would be in. I had this Moroso sump here. I thought I'd chuck that on and try, but unfortunately, you can see where I've clearanced the K-frame here for the factory style sump. I did that before I had this powder coated. The Moroso one needs further forward here, sectioned out. You know, then I'm gonna have, these are gonna be for nothing then, and I've had this powder coated. So I've tracked down another factory sump. I was looking at getting the one I've cracked welded because I think it's very achievable, but I just managed to find another sump. So I'll have to clean that up and chuck that on, and then the engine itself can go in. But yeah, so I was pretty flat about that, pretty upset with myself, but hey, these things happen, and at least it's easy fix. So this is the sump over here, guys. Not sure, you can sort of see that corner there is where I've cracked it. So it hasn't cracked around onto that surface, so that's what makes me think that it is repairable. I may still get it repaired and keep it as a spare or sell it off. I picked up some 275 60 15s, just some cheapies for street duties as well, so they will get put on so I'm not destroying the ET streets, as the price of them at the moment is just ridiculous, so I can't really afford to be destroying them for no reason. A few other things, I got the rear housing of the turbo and now manifolds and crossover ceramic coated, so they're looking really good. Keen to chuck them back on. That looks a lot nicer than they were before. You have to excuse the mess here at the moment, guys. I've got shit everywhere. That's probably where I'll leave this one, guys, and as soon as I've got the engine ready to chuck in, I'll film that, continue putting this thing back together. So I still really want to try and have this done for my wedding, which is in March, so we're middle of November at the moment. It's going to be pushing it, but we'll see how we go. So thanks guys, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.